Today we're going to be talking about the Rwandan genocide. This falls under the genocide category. The definition of a genocide is the deliberate and systematic destruction or extermination of a particular racial, political, or cultural religious group. The goal of a campaign of genocide is to annihilate or remove a group based solely on race, culture, or religion from the earth. First, let's start with the background. After World War I, the Belgians took over Rwanda. Rwanda was a small yet heavily populated country in Africa that produced 85% of the agriculture in Africa. There were three tribes, the Hutus, the Tutsis, and the Twa. The Hutus were the largest and the Tutsis were the minority. I won't be talking about the Twa much because some were killed, but they weren't really involved. The Belgians liked the Tutsis more because they looked more European. They judged this by measuring their eyes or eye color. Also, they checked if they had bigger noses. They gave only Tutsis good jobs, such as being able to run for a government position. And they gave the Hutus bad jobs, such as farming. The decision of the Belgians choosing the Tutsis over the Hutus would spark conflict later on and would cause the Rwandan genocide, killing 800,000 people. The Hutus didn't like that very much, so the Tutsi reign did not last long. By early 1961, the Hutus forced the Tutsis monarch out and made the country a republic. In 1962, Belgium granted Rwanda independence. Tribally motivated violence continued in the years following independence. In 1973, Major General Juvenal Habyarimana, a moderate Hutu, was put in power. He led the Rwandan government for the next 2 decades. He was elected president with a new constitution created in 1978 and re-elected in 1983 and 1988. In 1990, forces of the RPF, or the Rwandese Patriotic Front, consisting mostly of Tutsis, invaded Rwanda. A ceasefire led to negotiations between the government and the RPF in 1992. In August 1993, Juvenal Habyarimana, the sole leader of the government, made an agreement at Arusha, Tanzania, calling for the creation of a transition government that would include the RPF. This power-sharing agreement angered Hutu extremists, who would soon take swift and horrible action to prevent it. Before we get started, you have to understand one thing. The Hutu extremists were not fond of the moderate Hutus either. They hated them just as much as they hated the Tutsis. And now for the genocide. On April 1994, a plane carrying Habyarimana was shot down over Kigali, leaving no survivors. No one knows who did it, but the Hutus believed it was the Tutsis. So the Hutu extremists set up barricades to trap the moderate Hutus and the Tutsis, and to make it harder for them to escape. So on the radio they proclaimed, "Our great president is murdered by the Tutsi cockroaches. They tricked him, then they killed him. We must cleanse this country, good Hutus of Rwanda. We must clear the brush of all cockroaches, clear the brush." So the Rwandan armed forces and citizens set up roadblocks and barricades. You might be thinking, why didn't other countries such as the US help? And the answer is, Rwanda wasn't involved in the outside world or economy, so the countries didn't care at all, even though innocent people were being killed. Even the UN, or the United Nations, was not interested in helping the people of Rwanda. So the international community largely remained on the sidelines during the Rwandan genocide. During this time, government-sponsored radio stations called on ordinary Rwandan civilians to murder their neighbors. 800,000 people were slaughtered over the next 3 months. These radicals murdered the Tutsis and moderate Hutus violently. The rebels killed many children because they believed they had to kill the next generation. As the news got out and more pressure was put on countries, the Security Council sent 5,000 troops to Rwanda. Sadly, they were too late and the genocide had been over for months. French troops, Rwanda's ally, entered Rwanda and made it safer and saved 10,000 Tutsi lives. Of course, they also let radical Hutu leaders escape. The RPF took over till 1996, where the country turned to a unitary republic. For those of you who don't know what a unitary republic is, it is, according to Britannica, it's a country governed by one power. Thank you for watching the video.